I have my dream job, but even dream jobs have not so dreamy parts. That's where ServiceNow's AI specialists come in. They don't just tell you what to do about your busy work, they actually do it. That way your team can focus on what matters. To learn how to put AI to work for people, visit servicenow.com. Hey everyone, surprise! Emergency quick served. When something starts off as like a normal Thursday,
yeah,
and then everything just starts going sideways. So the way it happened was we're on a text thread. JW is here, producer Mike, Techie Sean. The prize money situation for the US Open comes out. It's like, okay, that's worth talking about. Karen Moorhouse, the CEO of the ITIA. We get that email before it's announced this. I think they've announced it already,
they're
right?
Announcing it,
or they're going to announce it?
It's live.
It's live. Get that. So it's like, okay, that's enough to talk about. Going into the Open, these are things that matter. The Grand Slam Player Council of things. And I'll be damned if on the drive on the way over, I don't get a call from Mike and Sean. It's like, or JW wrote, Carlos looks like he's in for the US Open.
Yeah, just like a subtle announcement.
I love.
He goes, boop.
Estoy de vuelta. Here we go.
Dude, he dropped this thing on Instagram. Fabrizio Romano, he has 49.7 million followers.
Yeah.
He's a soccer guy.
No. Carlos went through this guy.
Carlos posted it. Yeah, here it is. Here we go. He posted that video. And
here we go.
Here we go. We have to clip that one, Sean.
Yeah, are we allowed to use that over and over again?
Dude,
I think so.
I'm going to.
Because there's a world where anytime I want anything, I'm just going to go, clip it. Here we go.
Let's just add that to the soundboard.
Yeah, top comment,
exactly.
US Open. Can't wait. No shit.
So you think the challenge, you think the gauntlet's thrown, and when Sinner officially commits, he's going to go on McAfee? I think we have a new... I think Carlos has now set a new standard.
He'll go on like some F1 Instagram handle.
Yes, something in Monaco is the way I envision Sinner
way
announcing
cooler
it.
than McAfee. No offense, McAfee.
This is great news. I mean, we were going to go with the slam prize money of things. I know that the grounds passes and the criticism that the U.S. Open is getting for the price of those, I have kind of an issue with that, so we're going to get to that. At some point, there's lots of stuff that I like about the prize money announcement and increases, and there's a couple little ticky-tack things that don't really sit well with me. All of these things we were going to go through. Karen Moorhouse, CEO of the ITIA, is leaving, apparently all on good terms. We'll digest that, but Carlos stole the lead. He's playing the U.S. Open. That's what we're starting with, JW.
How do we feel about that? We're happy. That's a great sign. I'm a little bit nervous that after a serious injury like that, I mean, remember, he's been out since Barcelona in April, and the first tournament you're coming back is going to be best of 5. That's a lot of forehands and backhands, but I think it's good news. I think they slow played this. I think the tournament's breathing a sigh of relief. Presumably that means he'll do some mixed doubles too. I assume that was not entirely clear yet. Timestamp, it's Thursday. But no, this is good. Someone had a funny point to me. They said, wouldn't it be a real pity if 46-year-old Venus Williams played in more singles main draws in 2026 than Carlos Alcaraz? Something would be profoundly wrong. That's not going to happen because Carlos looks like he's going to be there to defend his title. I'm a little nervous about jumping right back in under these conditions. He's not playing Winston-Salem, I don't think. So this will be his first tournament since Barcelona, but bottom line, this is a good day. Good day for tennis.
I am so happily surprised, and my suspicions are wrong, and I am thrilled about it. Tennis's most exciting player. We don't know what we're going to get. A lot of the time, he pulls shots out of nowhere. I think for him to play this, I have to think the risk of further injury is next to nothing, right? And it seems like he's happy to accept that, hey, listen, maybe my legs will be tired. Maybe I haven't played any match reps. I might lose first or second round. I might get Van de Zandschulpt again. But I'm going to go. Would he be playing this if it was, what's one of your Challenger City names that you come up with off the top of your head there, JW?
Chillicothe.
Chillicothe. I love Chillicothe.
I'm a big fan of Chillicothe.
Beautiful in August. This is great. This is such a win for tennis. Question marks. I mean, worst case scenario, no Sinner, no Alcaraz. That's a nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an absolute nightmare. Now, all of a sudden, during fan week, if you're Carlos, I think you play mixed doubles because I think it actually adds a little value to your singles venture. And I don't know that I would say that normally. Getting into a big stadium with a crowd, with ball kids, with an umpire announcing the score, having a break point that, listen, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of his career, but matters in that moment when you have a partner and it stands for something and you could win something versus losing something with eyeballs on you. I think he should play mixed doubles if his wrist is okay. And now I don't know what his progressions are and I don't know how they're prioritizing practice sets or whatever, but I mean, there's every chance that during the week before the US Open actually starts, like we haven't played one point of the singles tournament yet, you're going to see Federer, Agassi, McEnroe, probably Venus, probably Serena. I mean, Serena, you're going to see the biggest names in our sport, maybe Alcaraz. I mean, this is such a win for not only just the US Open, but for fan week in general, JW.
Federer, you said? Who the hell would be on the other side of the net from Federer?
Someone who's a glutton for punishment.
Bear in mind too, I don't,
not
again,
that we're playing singles because that hasn't been announced.
Yeah. Oh, all
Oops,
right.
anyways.
Jumping.
Sorry.
How about this too? Did we mention if Carlos does play mixed doubles, his likely partner, provided everybody's healthy?
The rumor that has not quit for 9 or 10 months is, I won't say her name, but I'll say, like, if we had to rhyme it, it'd be Shmarina Schmilliams.
How about she's won more than 3 times the majors of Carlos Alcaraz?
Yeah, I'm in full fucking mode. It's probably going to be Serena.
Exactly. So imagine. No, I don't know. God, I mean, can we just step back? How much do we love this batshit crazy sport?
Love it.
The most dynamic player in the sport has been out. He announces his return through the Schefter, through the Shams
Charnia of European soccer. Here we go.
Now he comes. Now he comes back to play mixed doubles with 44-year-old Serena Williams. I mean, the sport just writes itself.
It would be. Listen, if they end up doing it, it's a lucky guess. It's a lucky guess. We don't know this.
Can I
Potentially.
Can I get this back on the rails though?
Nope.
Something serious. On Monday he was practicing with Holger Rune. How much of actually getting reps with somebody else that's pretty elite, but also
massive.
Okay,
massive. I mean, we talked about this during the last show with Novak. Like he could be in Greece practicing with people who are 500 or 600. There's a million really, really good players out there that may have a forehand that could mimic a tour forehand or a serve, but rolling that all up into one, it's really smart for Carlos to get reps against Holger Rune. Even if Holger is at 80% of what he normally is on his Achilles, the guy can still create pace like that you're not going to find locally.
So you can feel that on the racket,
100%.
Especially with tendonitis, right?
Feeling a 135 serve followed up by like a cannon of a forehand, massive. That matters. You can get a work, like it doesn't matter as far as getting a workout, getting your legs in shape. You can do that against any two chuckers, honestly. As long as they can make a ball, you can do 2-on-1s. You can get your legs going. You can do 4 hours. You can get your reps in. You can work on footwork. But match play, you have to play against real players. I don't mean like real players disrespectful. I mean like top 20 players if you're Alcaraz or Djokovic. Like even Djokovic losing in Cincinnati, I said in the last show, matters less because I'm more interested in the fact that he's getting 2 weeks of reps against, you would assume, players that are top 20, 30 every day.
Well, and then keep going with mixed doubles too, where, okay, it's mixed doubles and everyone's going to have some laughs, but you know what? There's a scoreboard. You said this. They're ball kids. There's an umpire. It's Berrettini. You can't check your phone in between points the way you could at a practice session. It's a just completely different context. Is the ideal preparation to defend your U.S. Open title no singles matches since April and then mixed? No, but we'll take what we can get. And I suspect he does play mixed.
I hope he does. One for the just like the tennis universe. He's such a star. I mean, it's weird because like when you're in the sports world, there's always like 3 or 4 athletes that are the biggest in the world that when they walk into the room, they are the stars. Carlos is that person. at least in my experience, what I've seen and what I've seen close up, like he attracts people and the way he engages, the way he plays. It's like this mixture of like an 8-year-old, but also like the best player on earth when he's flying high. Like it's this weird thing that's just so attractive. That it's weird to have someone who's that good also be relatable with smiling, with their temperament, with you feel like he's going out to play like horse and is amused by his own ability to make shots that no one else can make, right? Like that, but that's attractive as a fan. So we need him in the game. This is a massive deal. Fan week at the US Open. I mean, what a win. What a win. They found a way to make 3 weeks of not just like dumb fluff, but like the mixed is a real event that people want to watch on TV. You know, bringing back Federer for a tribute night. Like it's all really, really smart music. Our dear friend, Iris Copperman, one of my best friends, Ross Copperman, she's playing Sunday on Kids Day for Fan Week. So bringing in young musical artists, and it's just they're thinking a lot about it. And say what you will about the U.S. Open being expensive, because that's where I want to go next. Mm-hmm. But don't say anything about being creative, creating another week of entertainment, creating free tennis on Louis Armstrong for mixed doubles, bringing the best champions back over and over and over, and basically creating a spectacle, a full event before the event actually starts. Right now, JW, we have not talked about this, so I don't know where you stand on it. And I would like, when we don't do that, I normally learn something when I kick the ball back to you. There's a lot of people on Twitter, fans. There's a lot of prominent voices on Twitter that are basically saying, you know, they're quoting prices of $300 and $400 for grounds passes, which is what they're going for in Ticketmaster currently. That's absurd. You'll get no disagreement here. And if we're not being totally lazy about this conversation, we're talking about a problem with the secondary markets in Ticketmaster as opposed to the list price on the ticket, which is $65 for a grounds pass. Now, Sean, what did you say? There was a very big prominent voice that had a problem and basically on Twitter said that this is not in the spirit of tennis, right? The USTA is supposed to be a nonprofit. How could you possibly charge this amount of money, which they're not, for a ticket? And you had the line of the day. What is it?
The line was, someone seems confused by a commercial arm that actually funds its nonprofit.
JW?
I wonder if that person had more experience with capitalism and perhaps had reaped some of the benefits of market inefficiencies. Maybe they would understand it differently. I'm all right. I'm torn here because at some point, like, the market is the market. We should be celebrating. I mean, I've been to tournaments where literally they have papered the town with free tickets because nobody would go. I mean, at some level, we should be celebrating the popularity. This is a function of scarcity, and this is supply and demand and market economics. I also am sympathetic. These are really steep prices. A lot of fans have been just completely foreclosed from going because of the price. And I think there's a way. I've poked around on this, and you're right. It's complicated. We're talking about reselling. We're talking about different states. They say, oh, in Australia, you can get in for $60 or whatever. Yeah, Australia has different regulations on reselling. There is an issue. They can't do a queue like Wimbledon because they don't. I mean, I don't think Corona Park is going to be too happy about 10,000 people in sleeping bags. Like, there are some practical issues here. I've poked around a little bit, and I do think there is a way to thread this needle, and there is a way to let the market do its thing, and you're not going to be able to stop all the resellers, but you also can set aside X number of tickets to sell day of. 2,000 grounds passes are going for $50 day of.
So there
like
are
ways that sports properties,
but that's essentially a queue, right?
Their solution.
Mm-hmm. That's essentially
it's a queue. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to have 10,000 people sleeping in Corona Park. Wimbledon can do that if they own the land. It's not quite as simple as the USTA is greedy, or conversely, the other side is not quite as simple as the market is the market. I do think there are some workarounds here if the will is there. It's really disappointing how many people have said to me, I used to love going to the Open. I went as a kid and I'm priced out. And that's not cool. That's not in keeping with the spirit of a tennis tournament, a nonprofit. The USTA, on the other hand, we also should take a little bit of satisfaction in the fact that they've created a really popular event. That's, maybe it's not me and you, but some people are willing to pay $350 for a grounds pass. I think there's a solution here, and I think it's a lot more complicated than either greedy USTA or unfettered capitalism rocks. I think there's some workarounds here, but this is going to be a story, especially when people get a look at the club seating prices, which are not in the hundreds of dollars, but in the thousands of dollars. This is going to be a story during this US Open. And if I'm the USTA, I'm figuring out a way to message this. And I'm also figuring out a way to hire some kind of consultant so I can say, hey, look, tickets might be really expensive, but we have allocated $2,500 grounds pass, $2,500 ground pass of the day for $50 that people can have first come, first serve. I think there are creative solutions here. Are you willing to sacrifice a little bit of revenue to hit those solutions?
I mean, well, the question is what revenue is sacrificing, right? Because it is Ticketmaster. These are all verified resales, right? So if you look at the price comparison to Roland Garros, right? I think it's like a $20 difference what the USTA price is to what Roland Garros is for a grounds pass. But the pricing for those seats you were talking about are relatively the same, right? So the actual stadium seating is all relatively on market. It's all relatively the same. And maybe that's a challenge that it is. But I mean, mind you, Ticketmaster and Live Nation were being sued by the federal government and several others, and the Trump administration settled with them, and they were going to break up Ticketmaster because of things like this. Like Kid Rock was sitting in the White House bitching about things like this. That he'd go to a show and
is that before or after he was giving inspirational speeches to the Air Force?
Anyways, it's
sorry.
I'm just saying there is something to the fact that when maybe there's room where they have to go renegotiate their deal. This is the US Open, USTA, renegotiate their deal with Ticketmaster because artists are doing that, right? I saw in the comments where people were saying like Olivia Dean, negotiates a deal with Ticketmaster saying, here's the cap on the resale, or else I'm not going to use you as my ticketing person. And I think that's probably the one thing the USTA probably could do, not knowing the insides of things, because that's just the way, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Right. But it's not the USTA setting the price at $300. I think that's the important thing.
Here's my thing. Let's lead with wow. This is outside of the Super Bowl, maybe the most in-demand sporting event in our country on an annual basis. Like, it is absurd. The amount of revenue created in 2 weeks because of the enthusiasm for the product that stems from the players, that stems from the venue, that stems from all of this, the TV deals and everything else. And also, if you mention how expensive the prices are without also mentioning secondary markets and frankly, New York state law, then it's an irresponsible complaint.
Or lack of it. Yeah. Right. Like or lack of state law.
Correct.
I mean, Kathy Hochul has more guilt here than anyone.
Yeah. So like, if you don't say US Open bad because prices are this way, the secondary markets are dictating and valuing supply demand, which is outsized. It is unbelievable how many people want to go to this tennis tournament. So listen, smart people are going on and getting on an opinion that benefits themselves, right? Without mentioning secondary marketing and how the pricing actually works once it's out of the USTA's handle, which you have to go through. I mean, you kind of have to go through Ticketmaster. Like, you have to. Like, what are the other options? Like, are they Pearl Jam? Can they make their own decisions for 400 plus players coming to New York? Probably not. Like, I don't know. So listen, just have a nuanced argument. Is it overpriced? Is it too expensive? Mm-hmm. Hell yes.
Completely agree on that, Tim.
Absolutely. Yep. We're not arguing that it's not. This sucks. We had Dana on the Q&A show say, how do we get in? It's too much. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that are out there that are saying, and we don't disagree with you, but saying that like they're saying that the USTA is selling these for $400 is categorically false, right? The ticket pricing is X. Now, can they change it? Can they effectuate it in different ways? Yes. Have they? I mean, the growth of this tournament, even in 5 years, JW, has been absurd. I mean, it wasn't like this back when I played. It was big, but it wasn't this.
Yeah, I mean, this, and whether it's by accident or design, this has become Coachella, the tennis tournament. And, I mean, I could play Sean and people would go watch because it's the US Open and there's music and there's honeydews and it's a fun day out in the sun. It's really not nearly as player dependent, I think, by accident or design. Maybe someone was bright enough to see, the big three are going to break up and Serena won't be here. We've got to sell the event and not the players. Just this might dovetail to our next discussion. But I also think that, how does tennis replicate? I mean, part of it is the infighting, and it is a pity. And I do want to pause and say it is really a pity that so many true tennis fans, the people that are listening to the show, the people that write into me with questions about Denis Shapovalov's backhand, they feel priced out. That sucks.
That sucks.
And at the same time, I think you're right. This is more a Kathy Hochul. This is more a New York politics, Ticketmaster, Live Nation. Be upset at the Department of Justice that settled a suit that it probably could have won. I mean, that's where you want to direct your outrage. But I do think you're right. It's a simplification to blame the USTA and say greedy organization. But I also think they're not totally off the hook. I think there are creative ways that they could be allocating tickets for the real tennis fans, the fans who are not going to run and try and sell these for 4x face value, but who actually want to go see Alex Ayala and Arthur Fils. So it's complicated, which doesn't make for great talk radio, but that's a reality.
It's hard to digest in 180 characters. It's harder to digest when people who know better are selling it as something different than what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That sucks also, by the way. Also just thought of a new idea for a served fan meetup.
Okay.
Like you said, people would go watch if we were at the U.S. Open and JW played Sean. Frankly, I wouldn't need to be at the U.S. Open venue to have breakfast sandwich and watch JW play Sean while commentating that match. I'm just saying, for another day.
If somebody wants to offer up a court
for another day.
I'll offer up Sean.
Hey, listen, I'd love to go to Grand
as my champion.
I'd love to go to Grand Central Park. You know our rates. Look at JW just talking about how people need to be priced in and then begging me up for an appearance fee.
Our ground pass will be very cheap.
Yeah, I know my rates. Okay, yeah, we can do that.
We will not be mimicking the prize money increase though the USTA just did.
Read before we get into the nuts and bolts, because there's a whole lot of good and some stuff that, but read kind of the nuts and bolts of I still think it's insane that Grand Slams announce what the prize money packages are like 12 seconds before an event starts, but I digress.
Starts in 10 days.
Starts tomorrow. Here's what you're playing for.
So they just announced a record $108 million total player compensation for 2026. That's up 20% from the $90 million in 2025. Second straight year of a 20% jump. 44% increase over 2 years, correct?
Big deal. 44% increase over 2 years. Now, I will say this, and this is a talking point that they like to tell people, but that doesn't make it untrue. Mm-hmm. If they had done nothing for prize money this year, it would still be the highest paying tournament in the world by a decent margin, right? So go ahead.
That is gets men's and women's singles champions $5.5 million each, up from $5 million. That's the largest champions check in tennis history. First round main draw singles gets $140,000, a 27% increase, largest first round payout in Grand Slam history.
Good.
Quarterfinals $780,000, semifinals $1.45 million, runners up $2.8 million, plus an initial $2 million committed to a new player support program aimed to contemplating existing end-of-career pension funds and supporting players through mid-career life events and retirement transitions.
Great. If they're happy, we're happy. Great. And the formation, at least in theory, or on like some version of a Grand Slam Council where we're at least pretending like these meetings will get us to a permanent solution where the prize money is predictable and not just announced 5 days before a tournament, and then we white knuckle defending it on whatever side we're on until the tournament starts, and then we all forget about it. Right? Is that kind of the cycle we're in now, JW?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's unintentional. That is, I think it is intentional that it came so soon before the start of the tournament. Right? I mean, if you're not happy with these numbers, you have a lot less time to mobilize. In years past, this announcement has come far earlier in August than August 20th. Wait, I got one for you, Mike. Get a load of this. I looked this up. Rare research. When Andy played his last match at the U.S. Open, first round money was $23,000, right? So it wasn't last year, but it's not ancient history. $23,000. 2012, first round loser money, $23,000. This year, first round loser money of qualifying. So guys like way out of the top 100, $32,000.
Wow, of qualifying.
So of qualifying.
And
you're right. I mean, $140,000 first round of the main draw. I really like the fact that it basically was the Wimbledon. All right, let's just big picture this. This was basically Wimbledon, right? 20% prize money increase, and it's not evenly distributed. It's distributed more heavily in the early rounds to the players that need it most. That's great. That's probably as it should be. Happy to make a contribution. $1 million to each tour is not going to break the bank, but it's a nice gesture. Good optics. Happy to have player involvement. Jess Pegula's name, who I've heard from both sides, labor and management, both of them love Jess Pegula. So she has a future in tennis administration.
Just so we're clear here, like, this isn't we like Jess Pegula because everyone likes Jess Pegula. Jess Pegula is doing work on this. Like, a lot of people, like, I come on here and talk shit. What am I doing?
Talking shit.
Pegula is doing work. She is smart. She is motivated. She is not kind of touting her own time commitments to this. She is a badass, and she is a very important figure beyond just being a really good player in the sport of tennis right now.
And she's doing this exactly. And she's doing this why I think as we speak, she's playing in Cincinnati. I mean, this is a player who is a contender to win this tournament. You don't think she has better things to do than sit in a room and figure out which pool this $1 million should get earmarked to? She gets a lot of credit here. I also think, just tangent, she knows what it's like to be a top 5 player. But remember, until she was age 25, she had like a triple digit ranking. So she understands the challenges for the players who aren't stars. Also, I mean, the one thing we also should just make clear, the players had asked for some kind of formula, basically some equity stake, some sort of share in the upside. That's where these majors have drawn the line. You want a 20% year over year increase. All right, we'll sign off on that. You want some more say in the balls and the scheduling. Great. Happy to set up some kind of a council. There's no way in hell we are giving you Facebook equity. This is a classic sports and labor negotiation. But with the French notwithstanding, it does seem as though the tournaments have really drawn the line on some formula where players share in the upside. That said, 20%, if you get a 20% raise year over year over year, if you can go from $23,000 to $140,000 in 13 years, 14 years, you're doing pretty well. So I don't know. I mean, the big question now is just, is this, and the answer to this is no. The question I ask both sides is this going to be enough? Can you promise that this was done knowing this was going to stave off protest?
Well, you're talking about the Grand Slam. You're talking about the Grand Slam Player Council, right? Or are you talking about just this increase, just from the U.S. Open?
I'm talking about, did the USTA say, okay, Larry Scott, okay, players, here's what we're going to offer. Reassure us this is going to get us to where we need to be so we don't have to deal with protest. And that was not part of this negotiation. Who knows? So we'll see. We'll see how the players receive this.
And there's a lot of, I've had some conversations with people I normally, I come on here and listen, I'm not going to blow someone up if it's a good relationship. I have a lot of relationships in tennis where I can call someone up and there's, tennis is a family. The trust tree is big. I go, is this real? What is this? What am I hearing? What am I doing? This council thing is like, people are, I've gotten more stump speeches from people on all sides of this over the last 3 days. With, okay, so you were threatening to boycott the mixed if you didn't like us. I don't know. Are you using tickets and player transportation as a leverage point in these negotiations? Did Wimbledon, use that? And did players shut up really quickly off of their media obligations? Oh, well, I don't. There's a lot of that going on. I've had more of that in the last 3 days. JW, you get any of that shit?
Yeah, I think you raise a good point too, which is, this is a community and you want to honor confidences.
Yes.
And at the same time, you hear things that are reportable. No, I have heard through reliable sources, the USTA is well aware of Wimbledon sort of using this kill switch, which is basically we're shutting off. I mean, the USTA does about $5 million, it says, in comp tickets to players.
That's about $1 billion on the resale market, by the way.
I was going to say
that's $1 billion.
We need to figure
that's
out
a unicorn
right.
on the resale market.
Oh no, I think I want the tickets.
Yeah. Is that 11 grounds passes or is that face value? But no, I mean, I think the tournaments are aware of the levers that they can use, and one of them is that these things in kind, free transport. You take it for granted, but if you say screw it, I'm pulling out of the mixed doubles and I'm going to disparage the USTA,
you might be walking to ash.
Maybe you don't. You're taking the Long Island Railroad schedules are available online. I do think the hope is that this satisfies the players. They realize it might not be everything they wanted, but it was done in good faith. But I do think if there is, for the third straight major, some sort of player backlash, player protest, players pulling out of the mixed doubles, I have heard that the USTA is prepared to launch what counterattacking weapons it has, starting with tickets and transport.
I'm amazed. We'll see. I'm amazed at the leverage pieces that actually hit. It's like, we are united. We are only doing 15 minutes. We're going to take away the tickets for your uncle. We're good. Well, fuck me. No, not that. Not that. You've seen gas prices? We need a car. For fuck's sake.
I mean, but it is interesting, right?
It's ticky-tack. I hate that shit, by the way. Like leveraging tickets over players who have, imagine you've invited your cousins and they're flying to London or New York to watch you play, and then it's like you can't speak your mind. Now, rightly or wrongly, I could defend either side of this. We said 44% in 2 years, massive deal. The U.S. Open does more than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Simply. And it's like, okay, can we get a 5-year look? Have we earned that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this ticky-tack bullshit with the tickets and these little paper cuts, I don't know. I just feel like it's beneath the whole conversation, in my opinion.
So let me ask you this. Where do you guys, and I think it's really an interesting sort of philosophical discussion, where do you fit in? On the one hand, you say $140,000 to lose 6-2, 6-2 on the first Sunday. Are you kidding me? That's amazing. And then the flip side, the labor side of it is the dollar amount is irrelevant. How much are you guys making? Even with this prize money increase, you're paying less in prize money than you get from ESPN. That's what, before you've sold a single ticket, before you've sold a suite and hospitality and the obligatory honeydew reference, you're paying less in prize money than you get from one media rights contract. So the question is sort of how much is enough? $5.5 million for 2 weeks of work, $140,000 for a 59-minute match, or do you look at this through a prism of how much is being grossed in revenue here? So, there's no right answer. It's just an interesting way to frame it.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
that's how I look at it. Yes.
Well, I thought what was interesting, they put out the press release on the Grand Slam Player Council. And in the opening line, it's the Australian Open, Roland Garros, the champions, Wimbledon, the U.S. Open today announced the formation of the Grand Slam Player Advisory Council to serve on the forum for direct communication, feedback, and collaboration between the Grand Slams and the players. Shelton and Pegula are quoted in here saying they're excited about it. But one thing that really jumped out to me is that, they'll be involved in a lot of things. They'll focus on player input into sporting matters at the 4 Grand Slam tournaments and advancing the shared goal of greater player support. And then they start the 4th paragraph with the words, sporting matters that affect the Grand Slam tournaments collectively, right? So for me, that language is they're going to talk to them about the sports side of these slams. And what we're talking about is the overall entertainment and economic impact of these slams, which is all very different.
So this might not be fair in this given scenario. You want to great if the players are happy. Ben Shelton was on record, Jess, people are on record saying it's nice to have a seat at the table. What the table is trying to accomplish matters more, to your point, than just being at a table.
Mm-hmm.
Tennis is infamous. And so this is where this opinion's coming from, and it might not be fair to this specific scenario. Maybe everyone's acting in the best faith possible to get to a solution somewhere in between what JW said of this is already insane how much we get paid to play a game, which is true, to if you're making X, we should be participating in the profits as much as anyone, which is also true. Great. A lot of space between those two things. Sounds simple, but there's hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in between those two places. Tennis forever, whether it's ATP councils or ITF or whatever it might be, are infamous for whoever is holding the door to cash for 50 years in tennis in a lot of different areas. Very good at establishing councils and meetings about meetings and kicking the can down the road to delay progress as long as possible. Now, I'm not saying that's what they're doing. I'm just saying that's what's happened in tennis for a long time. Is that controversial, JW?
No, that's the playbook, right? I mean, athletes' careers are finite. Wimbledon's career is not finite. And the playbook for years and years has been, yeah, that's interesting. We'd love to have your input. Let's get back to you. And the characters change, and maybe the labor leaders change. I mean, if Larry Scott were suddenly to go become the next commissioner of, I don't know, the lacrosse league, hypothetically, that would set the players back a few years. I mean, I think that the kick the can strategy, it kind of sort of makes sense. If you're on the side of these tournaments that aren't going anywhere, the CEO of Wimbledon doesn't have to worry about a wrist injury that's going to keep him out of action. But I do think, I mean, just sort of big picture, the players, if they can reliably get a 20% compounding raise each year, yeah, would they rather have some sort of model where they've gotten baked into the upside? Yes. But I think a lot of people out there think 20% year-over-year raises in perpetuity sounds pretty good.
Yeah, in the details, you're going to get announcements, you're going to get press releases, you're going to get quotes. There are tens of people in rooms for tens of weeks coming up with the quotes you read.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the entire story. Whatever side you're reading, whichever side you're reading, right? The details matter.
Your point is a good one, which is it sounds pretty simple, right? Hey, here's how we're going to divide the pie. We'll give you a raise. It's the amount of work that goes into just the semantics. What are we calling this council? This is also compounded by the fact that because of antitrust, these majors can't really, they certainly can't collude with each other, but they can't even really communicate with each other. So all of this has to be done 4 times for the 4 different tournaments. It's all very inside tennis. I think it's kind of fascinating because I think in a way it gives a real window into tennis. But anyway, that's where we stand. The players are making a lot of money, not as much as they'd hope to. Is it going to be enough to stave off a protest? They're getting a fat raise. They're not getting a share of the financial pie with a formula.
I think they're making as much as they hope to this year. It's just without the predictability of what are we going to have to do it again next year and hope 6 days before the tournament that something happens. I think that's my main takeaway is like, okay, we basically bought ourselves time on both sides to come to something that's a little bit more concrete. I know the one thing that has been it's impossible to argue against is that the infrastructure of tennis makes that can very kickable as long as you have a road. Mike, Karen Moorhouse news.
Yes. So Karen Moorhouse, who's come on the show before, she is stepping down as CEO of the International Tennis Integrity Agency at the end of this month. She joined in February 2023 from the Rugby Football League, where she was the chief regulatory officer. Apparently, according to people I've talked to there, this is, she's stepping down on good terms. She just felt like she had kind of accomplished. She had set a mission statement through 2027 and just felt like it was the right time. And I mean, obviously she was the head during the Sinner stuff, the Iga stuff, the Vondrousova stuff, other recent suspensions that just came out. So I think, all in all, she's leaving the ITIA in a strong position from what they say in the statement.
Yeah. So this position catches a lot of heat because on any ruling, 50% go, well, you suck for the guilty, and then the other 50 go, you suck because it's not guilt. Like it's the worst position to be in, honestly. Mm-hmm. Like I think she's done a great job. I will say this, like unequivocally, I just talked about, is there a tool to like, use tickets and transportation to like maybe beat back some of the player outrage or control the narrative a little bit during tournaments? And I get the sure. You know who we never got that from? Ever? Karen Moorhouse in the ITIA. They are almost proactive about communicating as clearly as possible and not shying away from, like, I'm a dick when I follow up and you're not giving me any answers. Like, John's a journalist on fucking 60 Minutes. Like, he's a unicorn at this point. Like we will follow up and we will try to get the right answers, right? And it's our jobs to. But I want to be clear and I want to like find truth. I don't think we ever had a problem getting as much truth as they could possibly give in a timely manner. So listen, not going to be a popular thing for me to say from a lot of listeners who were pissed about Iga or Sinner, or, not Iga or Sinner, or the person 700 in the world who got a ruling they didn't like with, and they want to juxtapose that with other rulings that may or may not have some overlap. Listen, thanks. Good job. Like, thank you for at least for our little dumb show being clear, being concise, and giving us as much truth as you can legally give in a given moment, JW.
Yeah, there was clarity, there was accessibility. You could talk on the record, off the record. Sometimes, you guys know that. Sometimes we would hear, hey, an announcement's coming down. After the fact, they would hold Zoom calls after the fact, saying, you guys can pepper us with questions. This is legally sensitive stuff. And you're right too. No one ever says, oh, you pop me, you're right. What's my penalty? There is always an objection. There is often an appeal. There's WADA hanging all over this. And if nothing else, Karen Moorhouse was honest and accessible and I thought accountable. And that hadn't always been the case in that position. And we wish her well. And I think if nothing else, I mean, you're right. It's anti-doping. It's inherently messy. It's inherently unpleasant, right? There are no positive stories that come out of that office. It's match fixing and doping. And yet you always knew that you were dealing with straight shooters, and it was much appreciated. And I think that from an optics standpoint, I think that office is in a lot better place than it was when she took the job.
Yeah. And listen, I've been on whatever side. We all have like an opinion about rulings, right? But when I would email and say, like, this is so dumb. Like, why are the thresholds the way they are? It's a speck of sand in the swimming pool. Why are we putting the onus on players who are not professionals in the fucking amounts of anything besides, tennis stuff? And they go, yeah, we understand the problem. Here's how we get to that thought. And you might fully agree with it. You might agree with most parts of it, but they were very good at just saying, this is our thought process and this is the why, at least from our end, which I can completely and totally respect. If all parts of tennis work like this, we'd have a lot less episodes like today.
Yeah.
Yep.
Simply. I thought I was just going to have a workout and pick the kids up from school today.
Yeah.
Here we are. We said quick serve. This is more like a total serve.
Estoy de vuelta. Here we go.
Vamos, Carlos! US Open, yeah! Thanks for watching Quick Serve. We'll see you. I have my dream job. But even dream jobs have not so dreamy parts. That's where ServiceNow's AI specialists come in. They don't just tell you what to do about your busy work. They actually do it. That way your team can focus on what matters. To learn how to put AI to work for people, visit ServiceNow.com.